Welcome back to the Coco Convo Corner. If this is your first time joining us in the corner, then we welcome you. Pull up a chair, pull up a seat, a beanbag, whatever you need to get cozy. And we're going right into it. Today, my co-host and I are talking about something that is a little fun, but also very introspective. You all might know him from the first episode of the Coco Convo Corner. Let's give a warm welcome back for Jonathan.
Woo! Yeah, turn up, man. Hey, it's so interesting hearing this intro from a live standpoint because I normally hear it when I'm like editing, but it's so interesting.
Surprise.
Now, I will say,
I'm glad to have you back. How are you feeling today, John?
man, look, I feel pretty good today. I don't know why. I get so excited when we do these podcasts. But I'm excited. I'm excited for the topic.
Yeah.
And I'm excited because we haven't done this in a while. And I'm excited because we're doing this just kind of, off the, what is it? Off the script. Yeah, off the cuff.
Off the cuff.
This is why we're co-hosts.
Yeah. So you want to tell the listeners what we're getting into today? What we're going to be chatting about?
Yes. So listeners, today we are going to be talking about something that you all may have that you may not know you have, and it is a diagnosis called main character syndrome. And now you may be asking, John and Co, what is the main character syndrome? And now the best way I can describe it is main character syndrome is something that a person experiences when they think that they are the main character or main protagonist of their lives and the lives of the people around them. So it's not even just like I think this about myself, but it's like I think this about myself and I'm the main character of everyone else's story. Right?
Yeah.
It's so fascinating to like think about because I am someone that I have main character syndrome, and
no way, you think so?
I do, bro. I
feel like you're completely honest, selfless to have main character syndrome. I feel like if you're selfless, it's hard for me to view you as having main character syndrome.
I appreciate that. And maybe like it'll make more sense when we get a little bit deeper into it, because I don't think it's a terrible thing, right?
Okay.
And I do want to add this little anecdote, right? Because if you think about any main character in any book or TV show, anime, especially anime, there's this what's called a Deus Ex Machina, or in other words, like the day of the man of the machine or something like that. Pretty much to where the main character cannot fail, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And I think that is one of the assets of having main character syndrome. It's just having this mindset, almost like an unbreakable mindset that like I can't lose, like I'm the main character. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't be defeated, because then the show would end. And then So yeah, what's your take on main character syndrome? What's your like standpoint and viewpoint of it? What do you think about it?
Yeah, so I believe it does exist, and I also agree like you that two things can be true, right? Where main character syndrome can be a positive attribute, and it can also be like a negative as well. And I feel like I felt it both ways. I felt it where I would overthink and think I am playing a bigger role in like my friend's life or friends or family, members' life than I actually am. Like whether I'm worrying or thinking about what so-and-so thinks about the situation, and they're honestly thinking about lunch they ate last Tuesday. Like I'm not on their mind at all. But you get so, surrounded with these thoughts of how you're portrayed in someone else's view of you, right? So when I think about it from other people's perspective, I have thought of it in that way. When I think about it and I'm self-aware of it, then yeah, I feel like I'm in my bubble and everything's kind of like surrounding me, or I think about how I portray or tell my life to my other friends, and sometimes I hear my stuff play back, and I'm like, that wasn't even that big of a deal. Why did I make that? Why did I make that a thing? You know? But
Yeah.
yeah, I have this idea in my head in those situations that I am the main character of my life. Yeah.
hmm Yeah, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I think about it from this standpoint and perspective too. Is I mean, if you're not a main character, then what are you? You know, like, are you a
Ooh,
side character? Are
side
you an
character.
NPC? Are you just a shop? Like, do you, does the main character walk up to you, get what they need, and like go about their day? Like, if you're not a main, if you don't have main character syndrome, I mean, I guess you can say you're a normal person, but just humor me here. And if you're not a main character, then what are you? I know I'm not a side character, that's for sure.
I know that's right. I feel like I know I'm not a side character. I could definitely be labeled as a villain in some people's stories. I know that for sure. And it took me a while to accept that. But after I accepted it, I was like, you know what? Villains help the main character develop. They help the storyline
Hmm.
along. Villains don't always die. Sometimes they're brought on to the end of the series because, they're
Wow.
needed. You need that yin and yang, that light and that dark, that good and that bad, right? You can't have evil without the good, and you can't have good without the evil. Something to compare it to or overcome, right? You feel me? You feel me? You feel me?
Yo, no, sis is spitting
So,
right now. That's one of actually
yeah.
the most noble things that a villain can say. But it's so true. But for real to say, like, man, look, if it weren't for me, the main character would not be able to have like proper development. It's so true. Because you're right. There
You
cannot be
need
good without
me.
evil. Yeah, you need
Right. You
need
need me
me.
just like I need you. We need each other.
Mm, that's deep. That's yin and yang, ain't it?
It is yin and yang. How would you feel if someone
Wow.
said, like, dang, John is the villain in my story? Like, how would you feel about that? Or has anyone ever expressed that to you or made you feel that way? Or have you received that kind of energy before?
And yes, yeah, I've received that energy from a couple exes actually.
Dang.
I won't go into too much detail, but there have just been feedback from them that says like I don't like how I was treated, and you treated me poorly. You could have treated me better. When I don't necessarily feel like I treated them badly, and of course, I guess naturally, if you are being accused of being the villain in someone's story, it
Hmm.
can be hard for you to see, you know what I'm saying, like your own faults and flaws.
Right.
Now,
Right.
I don't feel like I'm a person that easily neglects the wrong that I do. Right? Like I am
Okay.
actually hard on myself, and I will self-reflect before I outwardly like blame someone or something.
Hmm.
And so yeah, in the most humble way, like I don't agree with being the villain in their story, but the reality is that's how they saw me and that's how they viewed me.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's not a comfortable thing, bro. It's really
Hmm.
actually not. It's not a comfy seat to sit in, where someone look at you and be like, "You're just awful, like the scum of the earth." Definitely not a comfortable
Not the
place
scum of
to
the earth. I can see it
scum of the
definitely
earth.
being uncomfortable, but I applaud you first of all for being not only team accountability but team honest accountability, because I feel like people can pretend or portray or think that they're accountable, but there's no like true reflective thought or true change of
Mhm.
feeling or emotion. You know what I mean? It's just going through the
Yes.
motion. So shout out to you for being team honest accountability. When it comes to villain speak, I understand that uncomfortable feeling, or you want to get defensive and defend yourself and let people know, like, no, I'm not all that bad. But
Right.
once you get used to it and you just like, oh, you that guy, you that guy.
Heck it. Heck it. I do
Heck
actually. I
it.
have a. Oh, okay. So this can't just be me. Oh, and maybe you can chime in. Maybe the viewers that are listening can chime in. But does anyone else practice their evil laugh like when they're by themselves? It's not just me, right?
It's not
Say
just
something.
me, or if it is just you and me, then it's just you and me. But it's it's not just you.
Bro, and sometimes it's like uncontrollable. That's probably not. I should probably stop while I'm ahead. But look, no, I'm here now. Sometimes, bro, I just laugh like, and it's not. I wouldn't necessarily just call it evil. Sometimes it's like a triumphant laugh, like ha, 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 ha. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Or sometimes I just
yeah,
be like, just like out of nowhere, bro.
yeah,
And I don't,
yeah.
I don't know
No,
what that is.
I don't
Maybe
know
I am
what
the
it is
villain.
either. I mean, maybe, and that's okay. We have cookies on this side. Welcome. So I just feel like, and that's okay too. I went to an amusement park this past weekend, and I
Mm.
did my evil living. Every villain is
Hmm.
lemon. I did my every villain is lemons laugh, and freaking the girl who was next to me, she was quiet. First, she was like screaming and excited, but then I started it. She was quiet the whole ride. I was like,
Wait, you evil laughed on the ride?
yes, while the roller coaster was moving.
No, that's a different type of villain, bro.
I know, right? And I did it on two different rides. The other one, people were screaming and everything. I just started my evil laugh, and I was like, "This is nothing." And in the bottom of my stomach was like, oh, "This is a little scary," but I was like, "But no, it's not."
But no, bro. That's so evil because people are already like fearing for their lives. She said, "Thank you."
Yeah. I just laughed and she was
Yo,
silent the rest of like 58 seconds. It was amazing.
that's funny. I like that you've embraced and obviously you're not an evil person, obviously.
Not
But I
in your
do
story, not in my story.
not. I don't think you're. I mean, obviously you're the evil person in someone's story, sure.
Of
But
course.
intrinsically and at your core, I don't think you're anywhere near an evil person. But I do like that you have acceptance for the fact that some people see you that way, and I think that's a very powerful stance to have. Because I think a lot of people that do wrongly accuse you of being the villain, they want that reaction out of you. They want to and a lot of times, like when we're accused of being the villain in someone's story, it is when we're exiting their lives.
Mm,
It's when you've fallen out, it's when you've broken up, it's when you're no longer in contact with each other, and then that's kind of when it's
right,
like when it's at its prime, right? But I think it's a
right. When
powerful
it's
stance to
activated.
yeah, exactly. I think it's a powerful stance to be in though, because that person no longer has like the ability to get a reaction out of you. It's just like,
Hmm.
oh, okay, well, I guess I'm the villain in your life. Please proceed with your life, and I will proceed with mine, and I will evil laugh all the way to the bank.
Right. Ooh, yeah.
So,
I will say at this point in life, I've hit a lot of different emotional milestones where certain things that used to bother me don't get the same reaction, don't elicit the same response. And I am very proud of that. I'm very proud that I can walk away from certain conversations or certain situations and not feel an anxiety or not feel the need to reconcile a 20th time. You know what I mean? And not in
hmm
a negative way or in like a F that situation way, but just in a neutral, peaceful, moving on way. So I'm very happy with where I'm at right now, compared to what previous Coco might have done in the situation.
hey, I'm happy about that too, man. I'm happy about that too, because you know what? The less you stress about stuff like that, the brighter Coco's skin is gonna glow, right?
Mhm.
The longer that hair gonna grow, the less wrinkles are gonna
Okay.
be on that face. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
No crow's
Okay.
feet. No crow's feet on them on them eyelids, right? Because we're
No
not
crow's
stressing about
feet.
what
You're
nobody
not
gotta
stressing
say.
about no Mm-mm.
No,
I do want to ask
we
you, say you're the main character in your life. What are some of the burdens or you think some of the negatives that come along with playing possibly like the hero or the protagonist or the anti-hero in your life?
that is an excellent question, and actually, I'm glad you asked that because that was a part of the reason why I wanted to talk about this. And so I am a part of a friend group, and we call ourselves the Ocean. And this consists of four of us. And long story short, the Ocean has self-appointed. This is not of my own volition, but they have self-appointed me as the leader of this friend group. And
Oh,
really, like
okay.
this friend group, we like to play video games, and I just happened for a little while to be the best in our group at these video games. And so when we're playing tactical games like Fortnite or Call of Duty, I think because I was better at these games, that they naturally like appointed me as the leader of the group in game form, right?
Okay.
But this was one of those friend groups that went from like a 2D piece of paper to like a 3D printer creation. And so we jumped outside the scope of just video games, and we started like hanging out like in person and in real life, and just we had these experiences. But that leadership expectation that was placed upon me never really went away. And so you asked the question like, what are some of the burdens? And I feel like in that regard, one of the burdens is just kind of like in those scenarios where you're looked at as a leader, kind of like the main character, there's an expectation that's put on you to outperform the people that you're leading, and not in like a pompous or a prideful way, but in like a we need you to show up, because if you don't do it, then who's gonna do it? You know what I'm saying?
So line, right? You gotta set the example.
Yeah, you gotta set the example. And not only that, but like there's also the if I fail right now, then I don't just let myself down, but I let a lot of people down.
You let the whole team down.
You don't understand how many times they would say that. Like if we're playing like Fortnite and I die, you let the whole team down. I know it's like a joke, a meme, but I'm like, dang, I really did. Let the whole. But I think that's something that's a common trope with every like protagonist that we know. Like look at Goku. When there's an evil that comes to Earth, everybody's fighting, like they're getting their tails beat, and they're just like, wait till Goku shows up, like he's gonna come, he's gonna wreck you. And like lo and behold, like Goku shows up, there's always a Krillin that's like getting blown to smithereens, or like Gohan is like just getting his face punched in, and they're just like, we just gotta stall a little bit longer until Goku gets here.
They
be trying, bro. And Goku just be somewhere like healing or eating, right. Doing something. But that's why I feel like it's weird that the main character syndrome has such a stigma associated with it. That's kind of what I wanted to talk about, because I don't think it should just be like stigmatic. I can see the other side of it where it can appear as like just very narcissistic, where someone thinks that like only I matter and only my interactions, you know what I'm saying, are real and valid, and no one else's thoughts or interactions are valid. I could definitely see how that is an issue. But when I say I have main character syndrome, I don't really see it from the stigmatic standpoint, but just more so the like, I know I'm not a side character because I also know I have gifts and abilities that are necessary for the development of well, I do think that I can think outside the box, like very creatively. And when you think of like a side character, you just kind of look at them as like an assistant. That's gonna be there when you need them. I think of like Robin or like Tails from Sonic. Batman and Robin, Tails from Sonic. Who else is a notable side character? Krillin from Dragon Ball Z. Like, I don't even
feel like Krillin is a side character. I feel like Krillin is a doorstop. I feel like Mr. Popo is more of a side character than Krillin.
No, but that's what I mean. Like, nobody puts no respect on the names of a side character.
Yeah. Which sucks, right? Because you also need side characters for character development. You need the main character, to confide in someone, to bounce ideas off someone, to sacrifice someone so that they can fight a little bit longer. You need the side characters also to develop the main characters, because if we only had the main characters or the heroes and the villains or the antagonists, like, what's the in-between? We know that good and bad don't like each other, but what is the in-between story? You know what I mean? What's the filler for the big episodes, the big fights, the big, changes in scenery, locations, time jumps? Like, we need those side characters as well. My thinking now, though, is like, but who volunteers for tribute? Who volunteers to be a side character? Is it people who maybe don't want the pressures of being the hero, or you know what I mean, the work that comes along with being the villain, getting your gang together, your posse of clowns? Like, who volunteers for the side character? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think, oh God, this could sound so bad, but I kind of don't care. But I feel like the people that are side characters don't know that they're side characters, and they actually don't even. Yeah, they don't care either. Like, they can't. I guess they can't break the fourth wall. Yeah, like they
They
don't
don't even
care.
know there's a fourth wall. They don't know they're in a
There's
box.
right, yeah, and I think but I also think that you're 100% right in that we need side characters. And I mean, gosh, let's I guess let's call it what it is, and let's take away the whole
Okay.
character like terminology, and say that there are some
Uh-oh.
people. Yeah, there are some people that play the support role very well. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? And like, look at a basketball team. Like, there are people that are the point guards. You know what I'm saying? But then there are the people that are shooting like all the shots, making threes. You're Steph Curry. You know what I'm saying? And so,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't want to dim the light when people that do play the support role well. Um, but yeah, this conversation, just for the sake of like fun and everything.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I do think some people are NPCs. I think some people, like they're there for development and they're there for growth and they're there to help progress the story. But in terms of like offering you exactly what you need, there may be some people that just cannot give you that.
Dude, I
You know?
feel you completely. And I know you
Mhm.
brought it back to real people, but when you were saying that, I was like, yeah, there's some characters that are there for the whole franchise. There are some characters that are just there for that season or that DLC.
Right.
There's some characters that are there for the spin-offs. You know what I mean? So you
Yep.
have the people that are there for the character development, for the special quest, and you have people that are there for the main objective, right? From start to
hmm
finish. So
hmm
my question now, though, you brought something else to me, is like, what do you do if you started as a main character in someone's story, but now they're trying to demote you to like side character? How do you process that?
Mm.
If you're aware of it.
Hey, yikes. Yeah, that's a great question. You said, what do you do if you started off as the main character in someone's story, but then they're trying to
And
demote
now
you
you've been
to
demoted to side character
demoted?
and you're aware of it. It's not like you
Right.
start off as a side character, you were a main character and you like, hold up, why am I getting less lines? Hold up, why am I not shooting with Goku anymore? Hold up, why ain't they called me back for this week's recording? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, I guess you gotta pull a Cleveland Brown from Family Guy and just make a spinoff. Just make the
Ah,
Cleveland show
dude.
instead of
Oh
Family
my
Guy,
gosh. I know we're talking in analogies, but you just said something that was like, like, dude, mind blowing. Like, that's right. Refocus on yourself. Take away that
Yes.
sidekick and become the main character of your own story,
hmm
dude.
Hey,
Bravo, Jonathan.
hey, man,
Bravo.
that's what you gotta do,
Become the
man.
main character of your own story. Stop being the character
hmm
in someone else's and become the main of your own. I know that's right. That's what I'm talking about. Dual wield. That's what I'm talking about.
Dual will. Yeah, that's what you gotta do, man. And that's something I've had to do recently, actually. Is I think like my last I don't want to keep talking about relationships, but whatever. My last relationship, like I feel like kind of both of us were main characters, I guess you can say.
Mm-hmm.
Um and I don't know, like I do know how to kind of step back and take on the role of support. And like if you're doing your thing, then you doing your thing and I can help you do your thing. But if I need to do my thing and you doing your thing and we both can't do our thing, then we both
Yeah.
can't do our thing. But don't get mad at me if I can't help you do your thing when I'm doing my thing. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if that's
Yeah.
confusing or not.
I mean, the
But
people that
yeah,
get
like
it, get
yeah, people that
it.
get it, I get it. People that don't, they just don't. They probably side characters.
They
But
don't.
but yeah, man,
Right. Thank you.
you gotta make that spinoff, man. You gotta, change the production team. And there can be some similarities, because it is a
Mm-hmm,
spinoff,
mm-hmm.
and I feel like every good spinoff is birthed from a good original. But it
Right.
became a spinoff for a reason. Like there's a fan base that actually enjoys you as the quote unquote side character more than they enjoy the
Right.
main
And
character.
wants to see more. Right. Wants to see more about
hmm
you and your background and
Right.
your future. You're right. You're absolutely
Right.
right.
Yes, man. Yes, man.
Absolutely loved that answer. Like, love that answer. Off the cuff, too. Whew. Whoo-wee.
Hey,
Off the
turn up.
cuff. Turn up.
Ooh. Yes. And quick disclaimer. I feel like a lot of this conversation has been like satirical, like just satire, kind of jokingly. I will say though that like from a Christian standpoint, we actually as Christians get in a lot of trouble when we think that we're the main character of like creation and like the Bible. And we don't look at God as the main character. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna just say that and leave that there. But
Okay.
the Bible is not. Dang, how did I get on this soapbox? Okay, I'm here. The Bible is not for us as believers to read and look at and continue to cultivate like our own story based off of it. But the Bible is a book that highlights it really glorifies who God is. And I think a lot of people have gone wrong when they read the Bible from like, oh, I wish I had the right word to say. I don't know why I want to say intrinsic, but they look at it from that narrow scope of like, I'm going to read this and I'm going to become a better person and I'm going to accomplish all my dreams and goals and visions, in which that's great. Like God does want us to live a life and a life more abundantly, that's pleasing to Him. But God is the main character of of this walk in this Christian faith. Sorry, I know this was very random. I don't even know why I said that, but that's truly what I believe.
And that's your right. Your belief is your right.
Amen, sister. Amen, sister.
Brother. All right.
Well, yeah,
in
terms of just me though,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not specifically. Was there anything that you were thinking that you wanted to talk
No,
about?
I meant about the May. I meant about our syndrome conversation.
Oh, about the syndrome. Yeah, in terms of, just me as a person, like I do have main character syndrome. Shamelessly.
Right.
Let's look at the Google. What does Google say? I looked at it the other day, but I haven't looked at it since.
You did look at it, and the definition that you and I were working with was that main character syndrome is a term made popular on social media to describe a tendency among people to view themselves as the lead character in their own life story. People with main character syndrome tend to be self-centered and self-absorbed, making it difficult to work collaboratively with others.
Yeah, this definition goes kind of in a few different directions. I do like, though, the part that says that the people view themselves, I think you said, as the lead character in their own life story.
Yeah.
And it's hard to think that people don't do that. It's hard to think that everyone doesn't do that. Like, how do you not do that? Who is...
It's your life. So it's kind of like, why wouldn't you be the lead character in your own story? You know what I mean? Are you trying to say someone else's life is greater in my story than mine? Like, that's why.
Right. Yeah. But then, you know who I just thought about? People that are like super fans and like they dedicate their entire lives to like being a super fan, like an ultra fan of someone. I mean, their own life doesn't even exist really anymore, but their life is to, you know what I'm saying, be a fan of someone else's life. I guess that's one scenario.
But dude, I think you just opened up a whole new path of thinking to me, because I'm like, that's kind of like the direct and obvious definition. But what if you're making something else the star in your life? What if you're making internet the star in your life? What if you're making the star in your life? What if you're making like occultist, meetings the star in your life? What if you're making alcohol and going out and entertainment the star in your life? You know what I mean? So you're not the main character anymore. Everything that you're spending your time and your money and your resources overcomes and overwhelms and becomes the main character in your life, and you're just supporting all these businesses and other ventures.
And you're not even concerned about your own character development. You're not developing, you're just developing someone else's storyline.
You're developing someone else's goals, businesses, desires, and future instead of yourself when you do that. Dude.
That's big. That's
Dude,
big.
You helped me see that path. I was like, whoa.
Hey, no,
I mean, your definition was accurate with the fandom, but I was like, that's too on the nose. Like, we're missing something. We got to take a step back and look at this for real.
So this poses the question of, I guess, if we have gone too far in someone else's storyline, how do we come back?
Mm-hmm.
How do we find ourselves again?
That's a good question. I would think the first step would be self-awareness, right? Kind of like it feels
Mhm.
very matrixy, right? Like red pill,
Mhm.
blue pill. Do you want to be self-aware and realize what you've been doing for X amount of years? Do you want to just, keep on going with what you assume to be a happy or normal, quote unquote, way of life?
That's a good point. That's actually a very great point. Because yeah, like what if that person that is so consumed and absorbed in that lifestyle is actually not unhappy? You
Right.
know,
Right.
you
But
know.
what if they don't know that they're unhappy because they don't understand that there's more to them their lifestyle?
Yeah, but that I guess, dang, that's like the beauty of life, right? Is that
Right. You can
we don't
create your
really
own
know.
happiness. But right. No one
Oh,
can
okay.
really be in your brain or speak for you. I was realized I was saying the same thing that you're saying.
Yeah, yeah, and people think very differently, man. People think so differently. I learned that this week, and this is a bit off topic, but I think it's an interesting topic. Is have you heard this narrative that there are some people that don't have an internal dialogue?
I heard that. I just didn't believe it.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people didn't believe it too. There's this interview on YouTube, and it has about 6.3 million views. And it's a guy that's interviewing a woman that claims that she does not have an internal monologue or dialogue. And one of the most popular questions that the guy asked the woman is, "How do you read?" Which is a great question to pose to someone that doesn't have inner thoughts, right? Because it's like when me or you read, I assume you have inner thoughts, cool.
Right.
But when me or you read, you can silently like kind of read the words in your mind out loud,
Hmm.
if that makes sense.
It
But she
does.
says that when she reads, she sees sentence structure in the words. She was like, she looks at a sentence and she doesn't see, like, if the sentence said there was a red apple on the table. She can't like. I think she was saying that she can't visualize like a red apple on the table. She sees the sentence, and then it don't even really make sense to me. Like I can't fathom it. But yeah, there's that whole, you know, belief that some people don't have inner thoughts. And I brought that up to say though that I do feel like people think very differently.
Yeah.
And I
We
do
do think
enjoy that.
right. It
Okay.
wouldn't be as fun or interesting or even like good for our character development if we all thought the same and all, behaved the same, all liked and
Hmm.
disliked the same things. That would be a very monotone life.
It's true, man. You know how to thought? I was thinking if everyone was just like us, that would mean everyone would suck at the things that we suck at. Isn't that
Right.
crazy? Like if I am a very unorganized person, but I'm having thoughts like,
Mhm.
why can't people just be more like me? Like why can't people just think the way I think? Like, but then everyone if everyone thought the way I thought, everyone would be extremely like unorganized.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a thought like that I thought was funny. But I think at this point I'm babbling.
Yeah. We can hang it up flat screen. I'm really
Plasma.
glad we got to speak today. Can you let the listeners know where they can find you or if you're working on any special or upcoming projects?
Yes, you guys can find me on the gram at underscore John the Human, JonTheHuman. I am not really working on any projects right now. Lately I've just been actually um playing a lot of Street Fighter 6.
Okay.
And I used to use a joystick, but there's something now called a leverless controller where it's kind of like a
Mhm.
keyboard. So really I've just been practicing that and just nerding out on some Street Fighter.
Nice. Would you like to drop any of your streaming accounts
Yes, you guys can follow
or
me on
YouTube?
Twitch. Yeah, Twitch. My Twitch is John 4 Show. That's JON the number 4 SHO underscore. And then the YouTube is Triloger, spelled like villager but with a TR. And yeah, I have some clips. I'm working on actually uploading more to my Twitch and my YouTube, but that's where you guys can find me and follow me and we can connect.
Nice. And as you all know, unless you're a first-time visitor, you can follow me at the Coco Convo Corner. I also have been streaming a bit lately more, so you can follow me on Twitch at TOOTH Furry FURRY, and the Coco Convo Corner is on Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify. Thank you all so much for coming by. Thank you, Jonathan, for being our special guest. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks for having me. Bye, guys.
Sure thing. Peace. Bye.